Hello guys, welcome to my channel once again, and in this video we are going to make a drawing of this diagram using the AutoCAD. So let's get into it. We have our AutoCAD over here, and if you look at the diagram, we have three outer circles, which one has a radius of 20, one has a radius of 32, and the last one also has a radius of 20. So we are first going to draw the one with a radius of 32. So let's do that. You pick your circle tool, you draw your circle, you input 32, then you press enter. Then after that, you scroll up to zoom in, you adjust it well. Now, after drawing this, we have an inner circle over here, and this inner circle has a diameter of 32, so meaning its radius is going to be 16. So let's do that. Move back here, we pick our circle tool, we hover around this big circle to find the center, you click and you input 16, you press enter. So we are done with this circle. Now we want to get the center line, of this circle right here. So you can pick your line tool, then you move here to find the center. When you find the center, you click and then you drag down to this side. Make sure the green line shows to make sure your line is straight. Then you just click. For this straight line, you can make any distance you want. We just need it to be able to draw the other circles. So we are going to move to this circle right here, and this circle has a radius of 20. But note, the distance from this circle, the center to the center of this circle on our left is 76. So we are first going to draw our 76, and we know this has a radius of 20, right? So we are going to do it this way. You pick your line tool, you click here at the intersection point, you move to the left, you input your 76, and then you press enter. Now the circle has a radius of 20. So whilst holding your line tool, you move up, make sure your line is straight, and you input 20, then you press enter. After that, you can press escape. So when you are done with this, you pick your circle tool, and then you come to the tip of this line because it's already 20 millimeters. So you click on it, and then you input your radius of 20, you press enter. You have your circle over here. So now we are done with this. So we are going to move ahead and draw this third circle over here. But we all know that the distance from the center of this circle to the top here is 64. So if here is 64, then meaning we are going to draw a line from this side to meet this side, so we will be able to draw this circle over here. But pay attention right here. So from here, we are going to take our line from this side at the tip of the circle where the center line is touching, and then we move it upwards. So that means we are going to move from here to here, and we measure 64. So we pick our tool. To be able to get it accurately, you must first draw a line from the center to the left here, and then you click. When you click, you press your escape key, and then you pick your line tool again. You move to the intersection point over here, you click, and then you drag it upwards. Then you input your 64 and you press enter. So now we are going to have something like this over here. So after that, we are still looking for a way forward to draw this circle over here. So we know the distance from this touch to this touch is 128, because we are going to have 20 plus 76 plus 32, which is going to give us 128. And we know the distance from this line right here to the middle or to the center of the circle is 20. The distance from this line to the center is 20, because this circle has a radius of 20. So that means the distance from here to here is 20, and the distance from here to here is going to be 40. So we are looking for this 20. And to get this 20, we already know that from here to here is 64, and we know the distance from here to this end here is 128. So we are going to subtract 20 from 128, which is going to give us 108 to be able to draw that circle. So you pick your line tool, you stand here, and then you move to your right. You input 1 2 so 128 minus 20, which will give us 108. So you input 108, and then you press enter, then you press your escape key. So we are going to have something like this, right? You pick your line tool again, you click on the center right here, then you move it to the right side, then you click. Now if you have something like this, you pick your line tool again, you click on the intersection point of this circle, you click, you drag it up to any distance you want, and then you click. So we are going to have a figure like this. Now we are going to make a drawing of this circle with the radius of 20. The outer circle has a radius of 20, and the inner one has a diameter of 20, which its radius is going to be 10. So let's do that. You pick your circle tool, you come to the tip here, because we already subtracted the 20. So you click, that will be our midpoint, and then you input your radius of 20, you press enter. So you see it's going to touch this line right here. You pick your circle tool again, you come to the center here, you click, and then you input your radius of 10. Now we are going to have something like this. Good. So from there, we are going to draw this curve right here, and this curve right here has a radius of 70. Yes, it has a radius of 70. So to do this, you come to your circle, the drop down menu, you click on it, and then you choose tan radius. So after you choose tan radius, we want our circle to touch here and touch here. So you will have this green circle moving with your cursor. So you click this side, and then you click this side, then you input your 70, and you press enter. So you are going to have something like this. You are going to have something like this. Now we are going to trim all the parts to get this diagram over here. So we are going to trim all the unwanted lines we are not going to need to get this diagram over here. So you first of all pick your trim tool, you trim this side, and then you trim this side, you trim here, you trim here, you trim here, you trim here, you trim the inner, you trim here, sorry, you trim here, you trim here, you trim here. We are going to have something like this, right? Let me zoom in. You also trim this side. So when we trim this side, we are going to have an image looking like this, which means we are halfway close to finishing our drawing. So now we are going to draw this inner circle over here with smooth edges. So to do this, we know the distance from the main center to the right here is 15. So you first measure your 15. So you are going to pick your line tool, you stand at this center, and you move here, you measure your 15, you press enter. So we are going to have this. So now to draw this, pay attention. You pick your circle tool, and then it has a radius of 10. So since it has a radius of 10, after picking your circle to the first center you first made, sorry, make sure you change this circle back to center radius, because we change it to tan radius, so change it to center radius. So you pick your center tool, you find the main center, you click, and then you input your radius of 10. Now you pick your circle tool again, we measured from the center to this side 15. So you click again, you enter your radius of 10, and then you press enter. So you are going to have two circles intersecting this way. So when you get two circles intersecting this way, for you not to get confused, first pick your trim tool, you trim this side, and then you trim the inner side, and then you trim this side. So now you pick your line tool. When you pick your line tool, you find the middle here again, you draw a line up to any distance you want. You click. Then you also draw you pick your line tool again, you draw a line for this side to any distance you want. Then you pick your line tool again, you draw a line to the down with any distance you want. So after doing this, you are going to pick your line tool again, and you make sure the intersection point at where the line breaks the circle, you click there and join it to the same part over here. Then you press your escape key. You do the same thing, you pick your line tool, you do the same thing for the down. So you find the intersection point, which is here, and you join it to here. I press the escape key. So now we are going to trim it to make it look perfect. So you pick your trim, you erase here, erase here, erase here, you erase here, erase here, erase here, erase here. So now we have something looking like this. So we are technically done with our drawings, but center lines are indicated with broken center lines, long, short, long, short. So we are going to do that, and after that we do the dimension, and we are done with our drawing. So to not erase everything to make your work look irregular or have any issues with your work, you can just highlight the line you want to break into two. So you highlight the line you want to break into two, which is this line, sorry, this line and this line, right? Then you move to by layer. You remember in our previous video we created layers with center tool and stuff. So when you move to by layer, you pick your center tool, and you can see that the line has broken. So from here to here has broken. Now we want to break this side too. So you can pick this, you come here again, you select the same center, and then you do it. But sometimes when you do it this way too, it's not going to work. So most of the times I prefer you first delete these lines, and you delete this line also. And since you know this side is the center, we are going to draw a broken line to pass through the center, which was from here to here, the 15 millimeters. So you pick your line tool and make sure this side, the bilayer, is changed to center 2. So you can hover around to find your center, and you trace along it with a green line. Trace along it with a green line, and then click. Now you drag it down again. You drag it down again, and then you click. So you are going to have something like this. So we are going to do the same for the rest of the center line. So you delete this straight line over here, you delete it, and you delete this also. So now we pick our line tool, we trace the center. Here is the midpoint, so we trace with the green line. You click here, then you drag it along the line to this side, then you click. And always make sure your long passes through the long, your long passes through the long. For that's how we draw a center line. Now we pick this straight line over here, we delete it, you pick this one again, you delete it, and then you pick your line tool. So when you pick your line tool, we find the center, which is here. Then we hover around, making sure the green line shows to show the line is straight. You click, and then you drag it down to pass through the line, and then you click again. Now we have our center lines for this area. You do the same thing for this part too to draw your center line. So let's do that. So now we are done with the drawing, and now you can take along to do your dimensioning. So we know this side has a radius of 20. We put it there. Then you make sure you do the dimensioning for everything over here. You know this side is 32. You put the 32. So without wasting much time, we already know how to do the dimensioning. Thank you for watching my video. Okay guys, so thank you for watching my video, and then if you have any problem or you need any help, you can put it down in the comment section and I will get to you. Thank you. See you in my next video.